Hello, family. Welcome back to the African Diaspora News channel. We are here live. We are talking about modern greed today. Modern greed is something that is, we see it every day. We see it not just in one continent, but all over the world. It impacts us all. Recently, well, a day ago, BBC Africa I covered a story, and that story is about anybody has a guess? Rituals, magic rituals. People unaliving fellow human beings to buy or to take their organs to sell it to those that are doing rituals in hopes of prosperity and power. This is the expose. Let me just put it up here for you. Yeah, this is the story that just came out, and it's titled Hunting Down Those Who Unalive People to Sell Their Body Parts for Magic Charms. So, in this article, BBC I actually goes in Sierra Leone and they send their correspondents and um, they pretend that they are doing some ritual and they went to this specific people to ask for help, and they told them that they are politicians and they want help in getting more votes and basically to get power. And this so-called witch doctors took took their offer and said they will provide that they will need to unalive a woman and get her organs in order to get them that ritual. They needed to do that ritual in order to get that politician what he needed from them, which is alarming for most of us. Um, it's shocking that someone thinks that their need for success, for power, for money is worth way more than someone else's life, because they're willing to sacrifice that fellow human being in order to be a president, according to this report. But we've also, we know these things happen, even though we don't know if they work or not, because some of these politicians stay going. They continue to go to this so-called witch doctors, and we still haven't seen them in higher positions. So I don't know if it's working for them, but um, what matters is that they believe that that means they're willing to sacrifice their fellow human beings. And this BBC expose shows exactly that. That is what people believe. And the thing is, the most the wealthiest people are the ones that are doing this to the marginalized people. So if you're poor and you already don't have much, you don't know what you're going to eat tomorrow, you're struggling in life, but this wealthy person wants more power, wants more influence, wants more success in life, so they hire someone to unalive you. Basically, when they're taking your organ, you're not going to be alive. Like, you need your organs to survive. So basically they do that. It's a trade-off for them. It's fair. And so the wealthy continue being wealthy, continue stealing from those that are already struggling, and the life cycle continues. And this reminds me, or this really is similar to what happens not just in Africa but in the world. The illegal organ trafficking organizations, the people that, it's, believe it or not, it's a multi-billion-dollar crime industry. Multi-billion. It's estimated annually, the organ trafficking, the money that is flowing through is around 1.7 billion dollars annually. Like, imagine that. These are people that are thinking that their problems, their issues, their life matters more than those that need the money, more than those that are struggling in life. Like most of these organs come from the global south. Like it's people from Africa, people from Asia are the ones that are the most affected, while the money is coming to those that are the third people get more money, right? The ones that are connecting or the ones that are stealing the organs are the ones getting money. But the wealthy ones are getting the organs. So it's not even like when you think about it, it it's heartbreaking because the even the ones that decide to sell, they're not being unalived, no one is threatening them, they want to sell it, right? Like let's say someone is willing to sell his kidney and there's someone that is willing to buy it even though it's illegal, right? It is an illegal transaction. So the one that is willing to sell it is someone that is struggling in life, that is poor, that doesn't know what to do, like where his meal is going to come tomorrow. But the wealthy person that usually is coming from the Western world, this is the what the data shows. Global South, all those countries are the ones that are that supply and demand is, it comes from, the supply is from Africa or Asia, and the demand is in those countries, in Western countries. So even when it comes to our organs, the marginalized people are suffering more and losing their lives over this. And this, we're saying it's someone selling. Most of the time, that's not what's happening. What's happening is people get trafficked. People are forced to give up their organs without them wanting to, right? So it's very alarming and sad. But if you're just joining now and you haven't heard what the topic is about, BBC just recently uh, did a story, and it is about how certain politicians, leaders, wealthy people will hire this so-called witch doctors to unalive people indirectly, because what they're doing is the ritual needs human body parts. So because they need that, they're willing to have that trade-off. They will hire this doctors to do the rituals for them so they can become successful, they can prosper. And they had an investigation, and it showed that they're willing to do it, and they even have a price point. In this article, it showed that one person that they contacted to sell, or rather to do their rituals for them, he quoted them and he said, I'll need a woman's, whatever part. And he's like, it's going to be $2,500. So that's what the poor African's life is worth. Someone was saying our organs are worth more than our lives in this economy right now, and it's a hard truth. But regardless, it's something that is happening. And so this I want to mention, because it was also specified in this article, this witch doctors, or some call it like black magic, which has a bad connotation. Why are you calling it black magic? That also, it doesn't sit well with a lot of people, because why are you adding black to it? Like, we've been demonized in so many ways. I don't want to use that word. But this people that claim to do these rituals for the rich and powerful are different from traditional healers. Traditional healers in Africa are mostly those that concoct, let's say, herbs and plants and things of that nature to help someone that's sick, someone that needs help. So let's get that clear. They're different from traditional healers. This that are in these people that we're talking about, that are part of a, I would say a smaller community, but it's believed they, perception is everything, right? Even in Sierra Leone, since people believe that they have power, they're weary of them. So even the police officers are afraid to investigate, because at the end of the day, the police officers are part of that community, so they share the same values and belief system. So when the police officers are told about the stories, they tend to stay far away from it because they're afraid of investigating. If they investigate, they believe that now that powerful person can do the ritual on them, and they don't want that and around them or around their family members. So they do their best to stay away from that. So they don't even get tried in court. They don't even pay for their crimes, because imagine this: you are willing to unalive someone from your community in order to make someone else a little bit richer, a little bit more powerful. It's insanity, but this is modern greed. This is the world that we are living in. And as I said earlier, same thing when it comes to the organ trafficking. Same thing happens. They sell those organs, but the people that are in these communities, marginalized communities, don't get anything from it. They lose their lives over it. That's the unfortunate and sad truth. So that is what we are talking about today. Someone asked, "Are they doing it?" America. I'm assuming in America. Yes and no. The data is not there because people don't talk about it. But like in those articles and stuff, of course they're going to talk about Africa, but they'll never talk about America. But as I said earlier, it's paralleled. In my opinion, it's similar to what goes on even in America when it comes to organ trafficking. Like when they are taking those organs to use it for someone else, guess what they're doing to the person that is giving out their kidney? You guessed it. So it usually happens in the Western world, but they're usually the receiving people. They're the ones receiving those organs for whatever reason. And the ones that are losing it or the ones that are giving it up are the ones in that are living in the global south. Yeah, someone said they especially target albinos. Unfortunately, that is very true. For some reason, these people believe, and we've done stories before when it comes to this. Albinos are the main target in certain parts. It's not always, by the way, it's not everywhere, but in certain parts of the world, albinos are targeted because they believe they're so special. Like their organs are worth even more, and they believe, yeah, they can bring you all the good charms, and over it they lose their lives. um yeah, someone else said, I honestly think they do that in America too. Well, we've seen I mean, I don't want to get into conspiracy right now, of course, but you just Google, you just YouTube, you'll find all those stories of the US, especially with Hollywood and this Holly weird, I hear some people saying. You will get that. Unfortunately, though, you see, BBC did the uncovering and digging in Sierra Leone, which is found in Africa. So that's why we're even talking about it right now. They will never dig this kind of stuff in their own communities and in their own country. So it gets hidden, it gets thrown out, so we don't talk about it. But um, probably, right? Probably. Um, yeah. It's Yes, someone said it is happening all over the world, especially in hospitals. Unfortunately, that's what we hear, allegedly. And as I said, the focus should be like, I want us to look at it and say, where is the demand and where is the supply, right? There would never be a supply if there was never a demand, and the demand comes from the ultra wealthy, from those rich people, from those western countries, and those are the ones that have the money, that are using the money to get those organs to do whatever they want to do with that information, with that um, with that organ that they're getting. They're the ones that are doing this incredibly gruesome act, like against fellow human being. It's, as I said earlier, and I'll repeat it again, it's it's for me, what is mind boggling is the fact that someone believes my success is worth more than your life. That's basically what they're saying. They're saying your life doesn't really matter, but me, I want to be successful. I want to be a president. I want to be this and that. Whatever they want is more than enough for them, like to unalive anybody that needs to be unalive. They'll go ahead and do it. So that is what BBC uncovered. We already knew, but they went undercover, which rarely happens. And they did their interview, and it's in depth actually. If you go read the article, you can get sad, heartbreaking stories of, like, there was a mother that they covered. Her 11-year-old son went out to sell something, and he never came back. And they believe it's these people that took him and unalived him for the ritual. But as I said earlier, the police don't get involved because the police themselves are afraid of these people. They believe that they'll do something to them. So they stay quiet. They never investigate it. So it's very, very sad. Someone wrote, this is the mentality of Africa. I would like to respectfully disagree. This doesn't happen just in Africa, as I said earlier. If anything, Africans are the victims because it's being taken out of Africans. The organs are being taken and being sold or being sent to those powerful people, wealthy people, already successful people, but they're so greedy, they want to be more successful. So yeah, let's not blame. Okay, so yeah, that is what this is about. Let me see if I missed anything. Yeah, so that is what BBC Africa uncovered in Sierra Leone, Africa. But if you want to hear more of the stories where exactly these things happen, I can yeah, let's let's talk about all the countries that it happens and why it happens. Yeah, so earlier someone mentioned Tanzania, and in Tanzania, the focus mostly is albino. And I remember I did a story on this specific topic a few years back, and the buyers, as I said, were Westerners, and they were willing to pay over 20 or $25,000. And unfortunately, they were successful. Yes, they were caught, but the person already lost their life, and we can't get them back, although they were caught. And when these middlemen were captured, they exposed who was willing to pay them. And as I said, it was from a European country. Maybe we can Google it. It happened a few years back, so my memory is a little bit, yeah, I don't remember which country they were from, but they were from a European country, that I remember, and they were willing to pay over $20,000. And thankfully the police caught them. Unfortunately, though, they were still they didn't save the person. They didn't come back, and that is what's happening. I believe it was Mozambique or Tanzania, one of those countries. So yeah, it's a sad reality that people want to want something so bad, they are willing to do these crimes. And yeah, it's really, 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 really sad to watch and see. um oh, interesting. Ricard said Chinese prison inmates were used back in the day. Yeah, I did not know that, but that's what happened. Now, if you have anything to add to this conversation, feel free to comment so we can interact and have a chat. Um, Someone said it probably started in America. They have a habit of throwing rocks and hiding their hands and then project their behaviors onto other people. Well, that's why earlier I was quick to correct someone here when they said, this happens in Africa, or the mentality of Africa. the math is not mathing. You know, the money, when you follow the money comes from those countries or those people that have it, right? That's the irony of it. The ones that have it are the ones that are so greedy, they want more, and they want to take, not only take away the resources of the people, take away their future, take away, anything that is worth living for, but also they want to take away their organs, the organs that is keeping them alive. So that's the irony of it all. And by the way, in this article also it was mentioned during election, the guy that was doing the ritual, was saying that during election time, that place is busy. It's packed. There's so many people there because they're there to ask for, a position, in it could be in parliament, it can be to become the actual president or a minister. They crowd this people, this ritual, what do they call it, the ones that are committing it. I'm doing my best not to call them, the ones that do black magic, because we're not doing here, right? We're not saying that here. So they said they become so busy during election because people that aspire to be politicians, because they know, what the unfortunate thing is, the reason why people are working so hard to become politicians is because they know the money is there, not because they want to serve people. It's because they want to steal money, to steal and loot. They've seen the ones that came before them, the successful ones, are not business people, are not people that were educated, the doctors, the nurses, the engineers. They know the richest person in many countries are the politicians. Why, you ask? Because they steal, because they're corrupt, right? So because of that reason, even when these people go to the ones that are doing the rituals, they're asking to be politicians, not to be businessmen, not for wisdom. They're asking for, being politicians, not. That's the thing, that really tells you uh, how people think, because they've seen the most successful people not everywhere, okay, let's get that straight, but in most of these countries are the politicians. And when the politicians are the most successful, that's what they want to be. And I thought that was an interesting thing that he mentioned during election. He's so busy. That's like his busiest time. But yeah. Uh, someone said, this is true. Albinos are God's loved children, so they aim at them mainly for their rituals. It just, oof, it makes me, it's, especially if you Google and find those stories of how they find them, what they, it's very sad. They don't, no one deserves, like, they're human beings just like us, like, yeah. Why doesn't it get national coverage? Well, BBC covered it, so I'm assuming now more outlets will pick it up. But if you meant national, like maybe in Sierra Leone, yeah, that's a good question. If it's not being talked about, it needs to be talked about, because clearly this shows a huge concern. And knowing that the police officers are afraid to touch the cases because themselves are afraid of that. Yeah, it's a huge question mark, because why aren't you taking action? Because they are unaliving people. It's a crime. Like, yeah. um Oh, interesting. In England, meaning adults are presumed to be donors unless they have registered a decision to opt out. I did not know that. I would have assumed unless you have opted in, like you have like this ID that says I'm a donor, they don't do anything to you. But it's the other way around in England. I did not know that. So when you pass, they just assume that you're a donor, like you will give out your organs even if you didn't say that you are. That's interesting. So you have to opt out. I did not know that. um Someone said it is somewhat of an industrial like complex over here. Yeah. Yep. Self-serving agenda. Most public servants are like that, and we need, you see, that's what we need to work on. Most importantly, we need to educate our kids that are coming up, Success is not like at any cost. Like, what's important is how you get there also matters. It's not just you have money, you're wealthy, you can flaunt it, you have private jets. Right now, some of these politicians have changed the narrative of it doesn't matter how you get it as long as you got it, right? Like, you get that kind of sense, that's the sense you get. The way they flaunt it, they don't mind showing off their expensive watch, their shoes, when the people they're leading can barely survive. They don't mind showing you, they're not even hiding it. So the other the younger generation, when they see that, they're like, oh, okay, so what I need to do is work hard to become a politician, to steal, not I need to work hard to become a politician and lead by example and help my community, help my people, do this, do that. No, that's not what's happening because of what they're seeing. So we need to work extra hard to um, instill, like, the next generation, especially our kids, our grandkids, should know that if you want to become a politician, it's because you care about the people, it's because you're willing and able to help the public, the people that you the funny thing is, they promise us the world when they're running for election, but once they're in that position, amnesia hits. Like, they don't remember what they promised. But we need to change that. Honestly, we need to change that. Leaders are like, by default, leaders should be selfless. They should care about the people that they are serving, but that's not the case. And that is why we're this person is saying during election it's his busiest. Like, make that make sense. Okay, in Canada you have to opt in for giving out your organs. Okay, that's what I thought. Like, you have to opt in, like you have to say, I want to give, otherwise they don't. But I'm surprised to hear about the UK. um yeah, this is so sick and disgusting. I agree. I completely agree. And it's no wonder why people have so much hatred to those that are really wealthy and rich. Like, because the more you learn, the more you're like, you already got it. Like, why do you need more? Why are you so greedy? But I guess money does that to people, and money makes you do. We've seen it. They will do worse. It's kind of like the same with our resources, like African resources. They do not care how the resource is being taken. Doesn't matter if a child is the one that is extracting it, working for you. Doesn't matter if it's a pregnant woman. Doesn't matter if it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if it's done illegally. They just want to take it to their own countries and continents. Change that raw material and make money and sell it back to us. They really don't care. It's like that. Like, the poor gets continues to be poorer, the rich gets richer, and that's the mentality. They don't seem to care what the impact is on the other side, right? And I guess it's up to us now to say, okay, I know, I see that you don't care. I see, but I care. I care about my people. I care about what happens in my community. So I'm going to stand up against it and say no to this. Um, someone wrote, they take it while you're alive. To imagine that is just horror. Like, it's horrific. I can't fathom. Think about it. Yeah, Cass said BBC has the proof and multiple articles. It has been going on for decades. Why? 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 Good question. Why? Because of modern greed, and because people will do anything and everything to get richer, to get more successful. And right now, it's even becoming about fame. Like, the richest people back in the days used to hide, and even now, for the most part, they do. But nowadays, they also want the fame. At least their kids, like the newer generation. So it doesn't matter if their dads are billionaires, millionaires, they still show up and try to be, influencers, or try to show their lavish life. It's like the saying, if you didn't see it, did it really happen? If you didn't broadcast it, did it really happen? Right? So they want you to see it, you and I, to see their lifestyle, right? So there's also that thing called fame. They want to do anything and everything to get famous. Being rich is not enough, I guess. um Capitalism, I hear you. um yeah, only want material wealth. Yeah, people have fear, and that is why it's not changing. And I hope this article can actually give it the spotlight, so that the government can feel the pressure to do something about it. This is we have to talk about it. We have to change it. These people have every right to live, and just because someone wants some little change, that being taken away from them, it's not fair at all. Like the 11-year-old that was covered, like that was on this article, he deserved to live. He had his life ahead of him. How fair is that? Just because he was born in a poor family, they don't get a say, they don't get justice? No, no, that's insane. Yes, I agree with you. um yeah. Wow, someone said, when I found out the things that they do when you're on the organ donor list, I took my name off so quick. I'm not letting them butcher me. I hear you. I heard that. I heard about that as well. Like, um, and it's tricky. It's really tricky. You have to put yourself first, right? Um, Yeah, that is for today, fam. Thank you for this interaction. I appreciate the chats and the conversation. I will see you tomorrow. For today, bye.